Welcome everybody to a Delco Nerd Network Hot Take. Folks, if you haven't seen a hot take before, well, it's where a few friends get in a basement, we give our thoughts, we give our opinions on a TV show, a movie, or a game. Today, it's going to be a game, and that game is Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty. Here to discuss, as always, Dogtown's finest, Chris Trio.
Gooch, my choom, how are you doing today?
Choomba, what's going on?
I was trying to squeeze us in there, like, what's going on, or like they do the S.
Is your day preem?
It is preem. I was going to say that when we were talking about how we felt about
That's preem,
the podcast. Yeah, it's very preem. It's very preem indeed. I was trying to squeeze in there somewhere, you know, they don't say it's in this universe. It's like...
They don't?
It's like, if you... Do you have on the subtitles?
Yeah.
They say it's every once in a while, but it's like, I'm trying to think of the example. It'll say S apostrophe and then something, so it'll be like... What's going on? It's all cool, Choom. Or yeah, you know what I mean? Or like, sure. There's no it's on it. It's just the S. It's weird to describe,
okay.
But that's something.
You'd probably catch that most people today do that. You just don't know.
I don't think, I think in this, it's very pointed, and I noticed it a lot in this DLC. But anyways, jargon aside, Gooch,
yeah.
How are you? I'm ready to, I'm excited to talk about this.
First recording of 2024. Here we go. Mm-hmm. Not the first podcast, but the first recording. We are here. And we are ready.
It's a new year, and we're not queer, but we're here.
That's what I was thinking too.
Out. Yeah,
I think we've said that before on the podcast.
I'm sure we have. It's so easy because
we're not queer.
Exactly. I mean, not to say it would be fine if we were queer, but you know, it's just we aren't. It's what it is. But yeah, Cyberpunk 2020. You got me saying it. 2077 Phantom Liberty.
Yeah. So a 2020 game.
Technically.
Yeah. So, and we are, we did review Cyberpunk 2077 long time ago in 2021. Actually, probably this time, like 3 years ago.
Right.
Me and Tim sat down and we reviewed it. Trio.
I think I had a migraine or something.
You had a migraine. Yeah. I did listen back to that podcast, so I did kind of get a refresher on what we were saying about it. And the conversation looking back was pretty interesting, and I got some notes about that. But, we are reviewing the expansion for Cyberpunk 2077 titled Phantom Liberty. And I did want to make sure that we said this.
It's long awaited.
Do you know what the current update is for Cyberpunk 2077?
Isn't it like 3.0 or something?
No, it's 2.2, I think.
2.2, right.
I'm looking it up.
Yeah.
So we are reviewing, because we're definitely going to talk about the changes that have happened. It's pretty much unavoidable.
Well, you played the game from your original save, right?
Right.
Yeah, and I restarted a fresh save for this, so I'm actually excited to talk about that in depth.
Yeah, so we are talking about the 2.1 version of Cyberpunk 2077. So if you're listening to this weeks later, months later, years later, you know where we're at. I imagine there probably isn't going to be much else coming out.
Seems like they're probably going to...
This seemed like... I mean, we're not getting more DLC.
As far as major updates, I believe so, yeah. There's probably some quality of life stuff they'll still, fix up. But, yeah, I think that's correct. I think they've even said that. They're moving fully to their next Witcher game.
Which is a Witcher 1 remake.
Right. Well, no, and I thought that was also moving to the other one, which is like the after.
Sure, but
that makes sense.
I would assume the Witcher 1 remake is before that.
So they have all these weird nicknames for their games.
Yeah, I remember.
And I do actually, one thing I like about CD Projekt Red, especially in these last couple years, they put out these like charts, and it'll be like a bar, and it'll be like, this much of our team is working on Cyberpunk, this much of our team is working on this much of our team is working on the next Witcher. So yeah, I don't know, because they do have the remake and then they have the proper like follow-up, so we'll see when we even get a new CD Projekt Red game.
So let's start the conversation by this. We both approached Phantom Liberty from two different perspectives, which I guess for the sake of the review is pretty good. Mm-hmm. I started from my completed save from when I last played in like 2021. So I'm starting at the end game. I'm level 50. I haven't played since then. So I spent an entire night, about 6 hours, respecking, learning, figuring out a new build, kind of reacclimating to the game. I did all the Edge Runners content. I got all that stuff. But I spent like a good 6 hour chunk of my time reacclimating to Night City before I decided to jump into Phantom Liberty proper, because The game, if you have not played yet or since, a few years ago before these big updates that changed the combat system, the skill trees, a lot has changed and it is quite overwhelming. To the point where the devs didn't recommend they do what I do. But I was like, guys, I don't have time to restart Cyberpunk.
Especially when it came out, the Phantom Liberty DLC.
Right, get to X point in the story and then do Phantom Liberty. Like, I don't have time for that, so I'm going to try to make it work. And I did. Yeah. And I actually, you can do it, but
100%.
I think just like starting it up and going right to Phantom Liberty isn't the move. Give yourself like a few hours to like maybe respec, learn what's changed. I looked up a build and I just went with it from there. Mm-hmm. Like, it's hard to kind of like learn a skill trees when you have everything available to you.
And you just put it all in. Yeah.
Right.
That's one of the reasons I didn't really love it, because I tried to do that too, and it just wasn't hooking me the same way.
Yeah, but you know what's funny? I did kind of, once I did that, I did kind of acclimate to what I had, and like I knew what I was doing. So we could talk about the build later, but Trio, how did you tackle getting into Phantom Liberty after probably maybe not as long a hiatus as me, but a long while?
I've been poking in and out of Cyberpunk here and there, not like a ton, but there was one playthrough I started to do, I believe, at the beginning of last year, but I was like, wait, Phantom Liberty's coming. They're going to do these big updates, because like a lot of these like really super major changes did not come until this latest update with that 2 point whatever patch. With even the skill tree, the kind of new animations for your cyberware, even, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it wasn't hooking me at first. There was too much going on. I tried doing what you did, and I'm like, I'm going to back off this. I waited until December. I finished it. Everything off that I was done, that I wanted to finish playing. I got Callisto Protocol 2, and I was like, I'm just going to start a fresh playthrough. And I'm glad I did, because there is a lot that I don't think will interact with at that high of a level that you just don't need to, especially when it comes to like upgrading your cyberware and upgrading your, your mostly your cyberware, because that has become the major thing. Your clothes don't really matter to a degree anymore, because it's just all cosmetic, which I appreciate and makes sense.
Yeah,
you're upgrading your like
the beginning.
100%. You're upgrading your like skin, subdermal armor and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and
the entire cyberware system
has been rehauled.
Is totally different. So, there's like not that there is cyber psychosis for the main character, but there is like a system like that where like, hey, like as a like.
You have a limit.
You have a limit. And you can raise the limit with the skill tree, but yeah, you have a limit to what you can do.
The type of how much cyberware you can put on your person. And, it felt very like a very natural progression. It reminded me a lot of The Witcher and how that upgrade system works. So, like, you'll get whatever, the wyvern toxin or whatever in Witcher, right? Or one of the oils. And you start out with whatever the first tier is called, novice oil or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And you just get the ingredients, and you upgrade that oil to the superior, and so on and so forth. And that's how the cyberware works now. Other than that, though, it was cool. There was definitely a little bit of new content in the beginning and how certain things pan out that I just didn't remember last time. I don't know if they had been added as new content since, or it was part of this last update. But yeah, man, I had a really good time. And it was nice to kind of dedicate my entire time to it, because I really wasn't playing much of anything else. I was poking into Callisto, like I said.
Yeah, I mean, I was in Iceland when this came out,
Mm-hmm.
so I just wasn't there to play it. And then by the time I got back, there was so much out that I was just like, I can't give Phantom Liberty the time of day right now. So, if you've been listening to podcasts, I think I mentioned like a few times, I was like, I wanted to start it before the Game Awards so I could kind of get like a idea of Phantom Liberty. Was up for a few awards, which was kind of controversial, and maybe we can kind of talk about that a little bit at some point, or mix it in or whatever, or maybe we don't.
We did speak about it on our Game Awards podcast, if you'd like to watch that too.
Absolutely, we did. But yeah, and then it took me like a month to go through it. I got to all the endings, both sides. So there's 4 endings to Phantom Liberty, and then the additional ending that is added to the game via Phantom Liberty. I didn't do all, like I did most of the side gigs. One mission was bugged for me, and I think it was bugged for a lot of other people. After you finish all the gigs for Mr. Hands, you try to go back to him, and he just like won't talk to you. Like,
oh, interesting, because I did do that. Yeah. It was cool to meet Mr. Hands, but
So do you know they changed his voice actor up and they re-recorded all his lines
when did they
from
do
the
that?
base game?
When did they do?
I think with Phantom Liberty. Because they changed his look and like he looks different in the original.
It's so funny
game.
because I did not think he looked like that at all, even under the shadow. But then they did a good job of making him look the same, even when you don't see him at first until you meet him. He still has that, like, when he pops up in the top right of your screen, he's like obscured or whatever. Yeah, I didn't have any issue with that. I finished all the gigs. I gotta say the gigs were much more meaty than a lot of the gigs in the main game.
Yeah,
going back and playing them.
I thought that too.
And they were pretty interesting, and they did have some lasting consequences. Especially there's like one where a girl's trying to steal some type of Militech data, and you can like choose to side with her or the agent. And then if you side with her, she burns you, and like you just have these guys now chasing after you for the rest of the time that you're playing.
Oh really? Yeah.
So
I fucked her.
yeah, no, she fucked me, that bitch. But yeah, the gigs were really good, and I liked all the stuff with Mr. Hands. I gotta say it was nice that they kind of could illuminate his side of the story a lot. But so you didn't get to finish all of them because of that glitch?
No, I did.
Oh,
I did.
Gotcha.
There was one, I think it was like the wrap up, like, hey, go back to Mr. Hands. You did everything.
It's like, come see me. Yeah.
Right. And it wouldn't let me see him. And I was just like, all right, at least I don't need an achievement.
Did you help him out to his satisfaction by the end with like who he wanted in power and everything?
Yes. Yeah. With the after you kill Hansen. I guess you don't have to.
Well, I didn't kill Hansen. What's her name killed Hansen for me because she was up with him in the booth.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you side with Reed, I guess jumping ahead, you kill Hansen yourself. It's a boss battle.
That makes more sense because I was expecting a boss battle from that.
Yeah,
and I didn't. Interesting.
So let's backtrack.
Sure, we're going everywhere.
Phantom Liberty. I guess we don't have to go quest by quest or anything like that, but what did you think of Dogtown? You know, one of the big features for Phantom Liberty is we have a new district of the city, which in my opinion was better than I thought it was going to be.
I agree.
I kind of was going to be like, wow, it's an expansion. It's probably going to be pretty big, right? It's really not. Dogtown, I think, is very easily digestible, very easy to kind of get your feeling around. It's kind of like a Vegas and I guess Vegas.
Yeah, it's like a bit of a Vegas
with
strip
like a stadium in it.
Yeah.
There's like casinos and clubs and stuff like that, and there's like a slummy town area, but
I really liked it. Yeah, it didn't feel like something crazy new. It felt like it very much squarely fit within the aesthetic of Night City, which, you know, makes sense. I'm trying to remember what that part of the map even looks like before this expansion comes out, which is kind of
there's probably nothing there.
There probably isn't. Yeah, I'm just trying to think of if it was walled off even before that. But yeah, it's no Toussaint. Don't get me wrong. And I don't mean that as a slight. It's just like when you look at that, that's like a whole nother large area with a big city in it and things like that. So I feel like you can definitely tell where they kind of reined it back in on this. I'm still curious as to like what the original plans for these DLCs looked like. I will never know, but we were supposed to get 2 of these. And
yeah, we were.
I'm curious if this was like the smaller of the 2 that you know, which are, what's the one with the guy that you help out?
Hearts of Stone.
Yeah, well, like this could be the Hearts of Stone, and then there would be now the other
Blood
one.
and Wine.
Blood and Wine that would come next. That
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. There's a northern part of the map that's all blocked off. It's like an industrial area where there's like a bunch of roads up there on the map you can see, but once you get to a certain, it stops you before that. And I'm like, I wonder if there was like maybe something planned for up here.
Yeah, good thought. I really hadn't given much of that too much thought at this point, just because I guess Cyberpunk has been off track from the beginning.
Yeah.
It's funny though, when me and Tim reviewed it, we were really positive about the game overall. I think we had our nitpicks, and even Tim was like fairly positive, but there were some things that like we were talking about that it was just like, yeah, this is like clearly an issue. Character customization was okay. It was something I talked about. Tim talked about how I didn't feel like it was next gen at the time.
Sure.
I feel like now you could probably say it's definitely a next gen game.
I mean, this is the game it should have been released as, in my opinion.
Right.
Yeah.
Another thing that he think Tim was talking about that I think is kind of Phantom Liberty's MO is they explore a lot more of the world's lore.
Definitely.
The NUSA gets a lot of screen time.
The Black Wall and stuff like that.
It's much more about things outside of Night City than it is with the main story. It is really just about, this is V and Johnny's story, and like it's really secluded to Night City. It's not like we're not talking about the Black Wall all that much. We're not talking about the NUSA or other factions. It's really like what's going on in this town.
Definitely. No, that's a good point. I didn't really even think about that until I started playing this DLC, which is funny because you're like, oh yeah, what's going on with like the government? Okay, so Night City's like neutral territory. The NUSA exists. Militech is the NUSA, right? They're part of the NUSA, whereas Arasaka is who they were fighting, right?
Right, in the Fourth Corporate War.
So I did look up a YouTube channel lore explained because I'm like, give me some background of Cyberpunk and the universe. I guess it's basically the same universe until like the 80s, right? Or 60s, something like that.
The 1980s?
Yeah, I believe so. And then that's when things kind of diverge. But the whole idea of, like these rogue AIs and the Black Wall, and I was like, oh, this all went right over my head as I was playing the main campaign. I mean, you explore a little bit of that with Alt and like what she's doing, and you go past the Black Wall with the Voodoo Boys. I did like having a full refresher of the whole campaign too, because I really didn't remember it that well.
I think I remembered it enough. I don't think it, I guess to sort of counter your point, it didn't really affect anything.
That's totally fair. I guess it's more of just like, I liked it.
But
I was like, you know what I mean? I was like, oh, this is just feels nice to really be kind of fully refreshed back on this universe and everything. And I kind of went basically the same way I did with Johnny. I'd be curious to play this more antagonistically towards Johnny. Because most of the time, like, did you do all like your rogue content and stuff like that, all of his side missions and everything in your playthrough? Do you remember?
Yeah. I wasn't antagonistic towards him.
I'd be curious how that kind of plays it out, and that does kind of affect the end of the game there a little bit in certain ways. But I think I've lost my train of thought. Gooch, what else are we talking about?
Yeah, so we start off by Phantom Liberty is pretty much, hey, there's a I don't really know how they introduce her. There's a netrunner named Songbird. She works for the NUSA. And, hey, she has an out for you with Johnny. She can cure you, but she's also kind of working for a cure with herself.
Which you don't know until you're in.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, I need you. I have this thing. If you help, we'll get
help you
the
too,
thing. Yeah, we'll help you too. Right. So the first mission is... is a Space Force one?
Yes.
Yeah, crashes in Dogtown, which is a big deal. The president's name is
it was in
it's not that difficult.
No, it's not. It's like it's something.
Yeah. We have to rescue the president from the Space Force. That first mission I think was intense. I gotta admit.
It was amazing. I agree. It sets the tone for what we're doing.
Right. It's like nice, meaty, and long. It kind of gets you going.
Rosalind Myers, yeah. So we rescue Rosalind Myers, and we're escorting her out into Dog City, and pretty much we're like... Dogtown.
Yeah, Dogtown, and then
like Dog City better.
We get to a point where it's like, all right, we have like contacts in Night City. We gotta like pretty much like resurrect a sleeper agent named Solomon Reed, played by Idris Elba. I like how we are introduced to Reed, which is, through a gun to the head, and he's talking from behind. Very interesting way to introduce a AAA actor like that.
Sure.
To not give him this, like, super cool intro.
Sure.
And instead it's like, who the fuck are you? It felt
very appropriate to what this story is, for sure.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you talked about it, like, to me on the side, like, this is very much a spy thriller. And I appreciate that. But, Solomon Reed, what'd you think about him overall?
Yeah, okay.
Just okay?
I think Idris Elba's performance is fine.
Sure.
And I think he shines more in the end of the game. I think no matter what ending you do, you kind of see what Reed is reduced to after all this subterfuge and espionage and sort of the toll it's taken on him and I guess the people he's grown close with at the NUSA, Somi being one of them, Alex being another. And they do reference, like I guess they had a team at some point.
Right, and there was an op that went wrong, and
Right.
Reed had to take the fall.
Right, he's betrayed by Songbird.
So was he betrayed?
Yes.
I thought
She betrays him.
but I thought that was at the behest of the government.
It is.
Okay, so
But
that's
she
not
did
real.
it.
Okay, yeah. So all right, that's what I thought. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, that's why they have that beef.
Yeah.
Or that like tension. Because
Well,
there is a lot of tension between those two characters, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's funny because I didn't really read, like, it felt like Solomon just wanted to help her. I didn't really get tension from him, like, when he was like, I don't like you or anything like that. It just felt like,
No,
he was like,
I don't. I think it's just like this awkward, like, ooh.
ooh, yeah, we know what happened.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
we both know what happened. Like, you fucked me for the NUSA, and now the NUSA wants me to fuck you.
Yeah.
Essentially.
And here we are. Yeah.
Right. In this weird situation where it's like you don't really know, who exactly to trust, who's right, who's wrong, who's going to help you. I really never, even the decision point when you have to side with Reed or So Me, I was like,
I wasn't
have
expecting.
no idea.
I agree.
Like, I am not leaning towards one or the other. And I'm like, I'm more leaning towards Reed because, like, Songbird just seems like a mess of a human being.
Well, I think and it's funny, I think by that point in the story, she doesn't seem as, like, all over the place yet. It's really, I feel like after this is where you see, like, her kind of, I don't know, childishness, for lack of a better term, like, come out. Like, she's very immature in her thinking, and she really is just kind of thinking of herself. Whereas in the beginning, you're like, all right, maybe she lied to us to get us here because it was under the pretense that the plane was shot down. But turns out, no, Songbird actually got it shot down so that she could stay in Dogtown and help Hanson. And I got to give it to them, a lot of good twists and turns that I feel like you would find in a great spy thriller. But yeah, I don't know. I was in the same spot. When that choice came up on screen, I was like,
What do I do here?
So Me, I guess. I don't know. And that was mostly because she was in the room with me and she's like the tech person. But yeah, that's who I went with on that one. And I did like, there was a lot of choice in this, I think. At least it felt like there was to me throughout all of these kind of quests, even the side stuff.
Yeah. Do me a favor. Scoot over.
Sure.
Away from me a little bit. Yeah. You're.
I'm on the corner though. That's where I should be at.
I
right?
know. I think the camera.
might be a little
the
out of
camera
whack.
is skewed more towards you.
That makes sense.
So I have less space.
Yeah,
So
because
I'm trying to. Yeah, there we go. I'm trying to balance this a little bit.
There we go.
I'm like, I've been staring at this for like the whole time. I'm like, trio is so off, and I'm so like over here.
Oh my God.
Anyway, yeah, maybe that was the objective of the writing, was to make you
So
like,
gray.
not be leaning towards one or the other. Because like you do kind of like, I do kind of feel for So Me. I'm like, okay, like we should try to help her.
Yeah.
But like, I'm not gonna do what she's saying. Like, she's clearly a little cyber psycho, and that's kind
That's
of
true.
And I mean, I think she is.
That makes sense. I didn't even think about that.
Especially once you get into the Blackwall stuff, and like, yeah, she is cyber psycho.
It's very interesting you put it like that because I didn't even think about it. And so her whole thing, right, if I understood it correctly, she can tap into the black wall somehow in a way that other hackers can't, because they're like, she's a walking WMD. They keep saying that. So
Right.
like, is that because she can rupture the black wall? Like she is such an advanced net runner that she is the only person able to penetrate that, and that's how she. By the end, you're like using it yourself.
Right, I think so.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
because like when you go with Reed, she kind of goes AWOL and starts fucking people up
Yeah.
with that Blackwall power.
And then Hanson is even talking about it throughout the time. He's like,
And they
listen,
say
I
Max
will.
stack after her.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's like, listen, I got Rosalind's walking WMD here. I'll tell everyone what happened and like what she really is. And like people finding that out would cause another corporate war, right? That was the other thing, because the black wall is the only thing keeping back like rogue AIs and things of that
Yes,
sort.
Yeah.
I like
So, like, the original net is destroyed by Rach Bartmoss.
right. You
and
find his body at one point in this game.
Yeah, and then I don't know if he establishes the black wall, but after the net goes down, maybe Netwatch establishes
I think
the black
it's
wall.
Netwatch, yeah,
and it's
yeah.
all those rogue AIs are on the other side of it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, like a like the wall from Game of Thrones.
That is interesting, but digitally.
Digitally. Yeah.
How much of this lore existed before the game?
A lot.
Is it
I
all
think.
mostly in the
Mostly.
tabletop stuff? Interesting.
Yeah. I don't think I don't know to what extent of like what corporate war they're up to.
Sure.
Like, I know it's 2020 in the one of the Cyberpunk versions is 2020 and 2013, I think.
Okay.
that was another thing we were talking about in the review. It's like, okay, like in the pen and paper game, like you play as Johnny and like his original crew, like Rogue and his band, Carrier Ardine and all those guys. Like the people you play in the flashback, Spider Murphy,
right?
Those people. So obviously most of the people in this game are original, except for those original, those original characters. Yeah. I am surprised how tight the DLC is in terms of like an experience. I think it is like a Hearts of Stone level
equation, yeah,
right, or parallel.
Yeah, that's the word. Yeah,
equation. Like it's not. It doesn't. Like it's an expansion. Like definitely. It doesn't feel necessarily like a DLC. Like it's not like, you pretty much have to get to the end of the game and then it becomes available to you.
For the most part, yeah. So it's, if not the end, it's like 75 to 80%
It's after the
of the
Voodoo
way.
Boys stuff. Yeah.
Which, did you kill all them after the whole Blackwall thing? Do you remember? I forgot about that choice. Yeah, I fucked them all up too. Because then that comes back when you go to see the other Netrunner guy. And you walk up to the thing and they're like, wait, this is the guy who took out Mama's Brigitte. And
Brigitte.
Yeah.
I remembered her. I'm like, oh, right. She's the Voodoo Boy leader.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it is, this whole campaign is just a campaign of V, including Phantom Liberty, just getting fucked. Everyone just uses V, and then they're like, we actually can't help you. It happens like 4 times throughout the campaign. And it is interesting. And this is another time with Phantom Liberty, because like, I did trust Somi but then and then she revealed, she's like, oh no, I wasn't gonna be able to help you. This only works for one person. And I'm like, ugh. I was like, why didn't I? And that was like one thing where I was like, why didn't I see that coming?
When I did the Somi ending, and I was like, oh, that's disappointing.
Yeah,
like I would hate to have done this.
It really was a gut
just to
punch.
be told like, yeah, I can't help
nothing. I actually just lied to get you here. And then V's like, well, what was I supposed to do? And she's like, you're resourceful. I would have thrown her off that fucking platform, which you can just call Reed right away.
Yeah,
there.
I know.
I didn't. I was like, God, I'll just put her on the plane. But then I walked up to it, and then that's when he comes out of it, and I was like, actually, yeah, take her. I don't care. Fuck it.
Fuck this.
Fuck this. I tried. And then
it just does not seem like the Reed. Did you do the Reed stuff?
No, I think I'm gonna do it at some point. Go back.
It really does seem like the better path,
right?
Like, because she fucks you over.
Yeah, she does.
So, like
Reed is working to actually help you, it seems. Like, even by the end.
Right. Hey, they're taking Somi back to the NUSA to, essentially be
just their
whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
So it's not really a good ending for her.
No, it's not. Yeah.
I like, morality aside, I don't think V would care.
So there's another through line in this where I'm like, why is this being brought up? Where V, like, you kill those like twins for one instance, and this is like, and she's like, you can be like, you just killed them. How could you just kill them? What is their lives worth more than ours? And it's like, V, honey, we've been murdering so many people this entire campaign.
So I did notice that.
It felt like it wasn't fully committed to,
and I felt like it was not in character, but I noticed it as well.
Right?
And I kind of thought about it, and I'm like, is this my V, who I don't think I was necessarily like a bad guy, corporate background, corpo background.
I did corpo this time, yeah.
Yeah, and I kind of felt like, not that I wasn't attached to the life, but there was something else with my V. I don't know. Like, like he wasn't this bad guy.
Sure, yeah.
And I really feel like the ending you get through Phantom Liberty sort of like kind of goes off of that point where V has this sudden sense of morality.
Yeah.
I guess like I don't really know what it is. I'm curious as to why they decided to write V as more moral.
Yeah, and I don't know. Again, it just felt like it didn't really line up. And again, not that I'm being like a murderous psychopath as my V, but I'm like, V, we've been killing a lot of people to get what we need, especially in our gigs. So I guess you can play basically almost every gig non-lethally. So if you wanted to do that. But I will say, I forgot how much of like, were you very stealthy or no?
Yeah. I was. So my build was sword and pistol.
So I fucked around with the sword a lot and the Sandevistan.
Yeah,
I think the sword combat is night and day from what it was, from what I remember from the beginning.
Yeah.
And I actually didn't love the Mantis Blade that much. My favorite ones that I was using were just the Gorilla Arms.
Yeah, so I had the gorilla arms, but I didn't really use them that much. I was mostly using a katana, and I was using, not the Malorian, but I had a few different pistols on me, and then I got the silenced, like, Metal Gear Solid pistol from doing the... Is it the Black Diamond? What's that club called?
Yeah, the Pyramid Place?
Yeah.
The Black Heart Club or something Hearts?
Broken
Heart Club?
We're close.
I feel like we are. Continue.
Yeah, like, and Alex gives you that pistol. Like, once I got that pistol, I was like, oh yeah, I'm in business.
It's funny. I
was really stealthing. Like, I would Sand-Devastan everyone down before they even saw me. So like a stealth in like a non-traditional sense.
Sure.
Yeah, and I really liked the build I had. If I were to play again, and honestly, I would like to. Maybe play it on PS4 and kind of like, you know, get all the trophies again or something like that.
PS5, yeah.
Yeah.
Heavy Hearts Club.
Heavy Hearts. Yeah, and do like a Netrunner build. Because
I was definitely Netrunner.
I was kind of doing like a jack of all trades like I always end up doing in these fucking games, and I was like, you know what? Fuck that. I'm just going to go Sand-Devastan because then I can't use quick hacks and stuff.
No, and it's funny because that's
what
why
I ended up doing.
That's what stopped. I used the Sand-Devastan here and there, but I was a Netrunner for sure. So
okay,
it was like, all right, I can't use any of my quick hacks. And then also, I think like I had 20 technical skill and like the intelligence, and those were like invaluable by the end of the game. Like they were making me skip like I could get to a door and it was like level 20 Netrunner. I'm like, open, okay. Let's get like it was making my life like noticeably easier.
You just rip it.
Yeah, or if I have so like I was heavy Netrunner, and you know I was kind of bouncing back and forth between stealth and you know just full on action. I do think the shooting and everything feels much tighter in this. Even the driving compared to where we were a while ago. And the driving combat. I gotta say it was cool to add that in.
Tim had brought up a few different things.
Yeah,
the stealth was garbage in the original.
I remember
and the driving controls being bad, which is funny because I thought the stealth and the driving, just like you just said, have improved a lot.
For sure. I don't remember the stealth being actually necessarily bad when I played around the first time. I mean, dude, so I played this, for those who don't know, I played this on my Xbox One for like a month. It was, or maybe a couple weeks actually. It was an absolute shit show and an unplayable mess. I got it then on my Series X. Way different story, in my opinion. They shouldn't have released that last gen game. It was a shitty and absolutely terrible move. But I don't remember the stealth being an issue for me back then. I just remember the cars had no momentum. Mm-hmm. So like now you'll see it like when you're stopping, you know how cars stop in real life. The chassis
I've stopped the car.
Yeah, you stopped the car. Yeah. The car will, it'll lurch, like you'll see the fucking actual chassis for, I don't know what the other word would be, like go forward. You see the momentum of the car actually work with it, where before it was very arcadey and had no real kind of real life physics to it almost.
Mm-hmm. And I mean then the police system,
completely rehauled.
Yeah, very GTA like now,
100%. Where it's you see cops around everywhere now.
Yeah, you hit a guy, you get a star, cops coming after you. Eventually you get to max.
Even if you hit a dude in like a car, which I thought was interesting. If you like kill someone in a collision, the cops will be called on you sometimes. That happened to me.
Yeah, there's an achievement to get Max Stack to come after you in Dogtown. So I did like experience like what that was like. They fuck you.
I was gonna say they probably go insane.
And I was on very hard, and the game does feel a lot more balanced.
There's one fight that
I have to admit though, like sometimes I was getting like one-shotted.
I think I was just on
by
hard.
enemies, and I was like, what the fuck is this, man? I'm like, why am I getting one-shotted?
I did feel like God mode at a certain point with all my quick hacks, though. Like, I was like, synapse burnout,
I did too.
This, that, like, it does
I'd blood pump like 3 times, Sand-Devastan, and then, I'd get out of it.
The reflecting bullets was a lot of fun, too, on the katana. I started investing
Is that new?
That's new. I don't think that was in the game. I don't think that's like 2.1, because a lot of the big things, and also the metro system now, that was added in the last bit. Right, that was added in like a month later.
Yeah.
But the Phantom Liberty, that was the big one. They had been progressively putting in a lot of these systems over this last year. And even when I played it at the beginning of 2023, I remember it being vastly superior. I think even the driving by then was way improved and stuff like that. But yeah, a lot of these like super heavy overhauls came with Phantom Liberty. And again, CD Projekt Red made so much money, so it doesn't matter. And so they had to, if they didn't put all the money back into this and earn their goodwill back to a degree, it would have been a shit show. But I appreciate them for doing it. But this absolutely should have been the game that should have been launched. Just on a base level, not besides the Phantom Liberty aside.
It was funny. So our verdict at the end in our review was, it's good, but wait for a sale.
Yeah.
It was funny. That was what I would really like to hear. It's like we did hit on multiple points. This game is really good, but there are a lot of problems, and you may want to wait for a sale. And because I'm getting a little bit more cognizant of it's probably a good idea for me to go back and hear what I was saying about X if it's been so long.
Well, especially if we're talking about that specifically again. Yeah.
Yeah,
no,
right.
Makes
Well,
sense.
like Phantom Liberty, so much has happened since that launch and since I've played, and especially with Edge Runners, Cyberpunk's narrative kind of the narrative going on within the video game space has kind of turned around.
Definitely. And I will give it to them, they've earned it.
Edge Runners.
Yeah.
So I wanted to be okay, what were we saying when we were in the worst of it? And we were still positive, which was good to hear. I mean, hey, Tim had his gripes, I had my gripes. Tim wanted, he was wait to buy the game, don't go out and get it. I wanted to know more about the world, so it is funny that we were,
that's what we were given.
We got that.
Yeah.
Tim said something similar about the lore taking the backseat. He also mentioned something that going to the metro system, that the world was more of a prop, meaning you could go up to a building and not every building is explorable. There's some doors that don't open, but I think the metro kind of expands on that. Be hey, you see the metro everywhere. Now you can actually ride it. And it's more than a prop. It's interactable.
I think that's an issue that games always will run.
Right.
We even still do to this point where not every. The only games I know that you can mostly walk into almost every single building is a Bethesda game or something where truly almost every single door is available to walk into.
Yeah.
But even those are still, there's not a ton of them because they're usually in a broken down town or something like that. Or it's a small town like in Skyrim. But I think when you get to this dense of a city, we would never get to the point where you can enter every building and explore every single shop. But it definitely felt more alive now. From what I remember, I definitely was spending more time. I took so many screenshots, and I was
I saw that.
I was really enjoying.
I think it was just because it was that's it's past.
I got a really great fucking picture of there's one monument where it's a Buddhist and he has 6 arms and he's holding 2 orbs. Fucking cool ass shot. It's my screen background right now on my computer, but I was just I walked around for 2 hours in the city. And I was just looking at the city, and I was
and that's kind of what I was doing with that 8 hours.
Yeah.
I was finding the Edge Runner stuff, and I was just kind of reacclimating to Night City and driving around, being oh yeah.
And that's why I will say
what it looked like.
I liked playing it fully over again because it really made me fully re-explore all those districts, and there were definitely areas of the map, even within the city, nearby my house or V's original apartment, where I'm I've never seen this place. I've never been to this part of the city, and I do like the idea of a DLC, not a DLC, of a game or an RPG that really does focus in on just a singular location like this, like a city, like a heavy dense city. I mean,
right.
You don't see that aside from a Grand Theft Auto or something like that, and even in Assassin's Creed, they used to focus on just one city, a really densely populated area. I mean,
or in
Paris.
entries they have,
But yeah, I really fucking love Night City. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It really is, and it doesn't feel like a prop to me. Definitely feels like
I did kind
of
fall back in love with Cyberpunk and its world and its lore again. I wanted to rewatch Edge Runners again, which I didn't do. But I was looking into Cyberpunk lore again, and kind of immersing myself in the game again as I would if I was playing it originally, where I'm interested in the lore, and I'm trying to watch YouTube videos and stuff on things. And I have to say though, I do think a sequel to Cyberpunk 2077, not necessarily narrative,
Like not like a direct sequel,
but a
like,
Cyberpunk 2087.
well, and I think they said that they're
likely.
doing another Cyberpunk, right? I thought they
Yeah.
already said that. Like
Yeah,
we know,
but it's just like I want it now.
I do. I want it
But
much
I think
more.
Before I was like, yeah, not really sure. I think this epilogue to Cyberpunk for me, going back and kind of ending with the ending,
So there's two options now for your ending, right? Basically.
well, there's like 100 million.
I mean, I'm
but-
sorry, like
I mean,
two
not really, but
two routes that you can go that lead to different options. Because you can either go to Embers.
you do
with
the base thing.
You can do that. So
Yeah.
did you do that and then that ends it though, right? If you do that base ending. Or
What?
can you finish the ending, the base ending, and then go do the Phantom Liberty ending?
No,
I thought so. You can only do one or the other.
right. You either
But then
go,
there's
you
multiple
either,
endings even within those endings, right? Is the idea?
No.
Because I thought-
I mean, the Hanako one, yeah, it's all the original stuff.
Yes.
Avocado, go to Mikoshi.
Right.
Give yourself to Johnny.
Yeah.
Fuck off, kill yourself.
Or you can take your body back, right, and then you die anyways, though. After a while.
Right.
So, but
that,
then
all that
with
stuff is still there.
right?
But the new ending is
That
we're not even
replaces
gonna,
it. Right,
we're not
yeah.
even gonna go to Hanako. Reed has our out.
Yeah.
Reed has the out.
That's what I thought.
We have
Okay.
this. What Songbird promised you. We have it. We have one.
We'll do it. Yeah.
We'll contact you in a few days. You wait a few days. Reed's like, hey,
Let's go.
it's ready when you're ready. And then you have that on your plate if you want to do it. I don't want to get there just yet.
No, I know. I'm sorry. I just want to make sure. Yeah.
No need to apologize. I'm just telling you.
But there was one thing I wanted to talk about in respect to the engine, which has kind of made
the
me
red
sad.
engine.
And Cullen and I, friend of the show, of course, we were talking in the Discord a while ago. I was like, it's sad that like it seemed like their engine did give them a good bit of trouble because having your own engine is going to be tough.
Right.
You're your own in-house IT
proprietary,
support.
yeah.
There's no one to go to help you out if you have a problem. It's all inside your house.
Sure.
And they were having troubles, and it seems like, they were like, all right, they announced with this next Witcher game that it's going to be made in Unreal Engine.
Yeah.
And it does kind of make me a little sad because I feel like they've just
Sure.
finally gotten like their hooks around this, and this game feels so good at this point, and they seem to have executed something not flawlessly, but as close to it as you can in a degree. Well, and just it's very enjoyable, and I love the look of this game. I think the character models look great when they're looking at you, and it feels like they're making eye contact with you. I don't feel like I've felt like that in a game, weirdly almost.
Yeah,
it's like
especially talking to one
in
of the
a first
French
person.
twins.
Yeah, like
when she was like, I was really engaged.
I
with
was too.
That cutscene at the craps table, the roulette
Yeah.
table. When the twins are talking, and I'm a male V, so she's getting very
Right.
flirty with me. I was like, hey,
She was flirting with me too.
Hey there, hon. Oh,
She's like, "What's
yeah,
But-
and like the way she was like staring
Yeah.
into your eyes.
Like
yeah,
it's
there's
there's something to
there.
it. And don't get me wrong, Unreal looks great.
So
but
here's my two-pronged approach at that.
Sure.
Do you think they're doing that because they really can't risk another Cyberpunk 2077?
I think that's absolutely why they're doing
Or
it. Yeah.
they're going to do it once and then they're going to use Red again, maybe with another game.
I
do
think
you
I think Red's done. I do. I think they're just seeing it as
I almost don't believe that.
I would hope not.
Because
but
just like Bethesda, like they'll never not use creation.
well, so did they make Witcher was made on their Red engine and everything too?
I would assume
yeah,
so.
so it is interesting that they would go that long with it and then switch this new one. And I mean, of course, Witcher was in third person, so maybe that had something to do with it. Maybe switching from the first to third person perspective really kind of fucked with things. I do love Cyberpunk's first person perspective. We talked about it before. I would like to see a third person, if only that I can see my character when I'm like exploring the world.
I thought that was a weird take from you.
I didn't. It wasn't.
I was like, "What?" I'm like, "I like it."
No.
Like in the endings, I think they used it like effectively.
Was it in the other ending too?
Yes.
I guess it was.
Yeah, it is.
So I forgot about that. It
I mean,
just felt like
it's
Red,
not. It's definitely longer, like longer shots
in
that,
the new engine,
in the new
one
ending. But
I didn't remember. It just felt like I was like, oh, well, it wasn't that I didn't like it or like it like really annoyed me or anything. It was just more like, whoa, where'd this come from? Because we're just in everything else is within a first person perspective.
yeah, it felt more personal.
Definitely, for sure. I mean, well, it was nice to see your character. It really
Right.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I really like my character, but I like even talking about like the morality thing. Going back to that, I really kind of thought my Johnny's monologue, when you do the Reed path is like Keanu acting at his finest. Like, I don't think I've ever heard him deliver. Like,
He killed it, yeah.
like Johnny was.
Yeah, you learn a lot more about Johnny in this. His past.
I'm like, I wish I remembered the quotes, but he just felt like he changed from Phantom Liberty. Like, not in a bad way, in a like Johnny has grown kind of way.
Well, and
like
he keeps talking about how
he's V are like, you can tell, I mean, they're writing this from the perspective of like everyone has played Cyberpunk at this point, and like this is like an epilogue, or like, you know, this is the last time we're going to interact with Silverhand for the most part.
Yeah.
Like, we're not getting him back.
Yeah.
So the idea of like this is Keanu's last hoorah as the character, and I feel like they really made it emotional for him to be like, yeah, like I don't even.
Well, it's
like,
great because
I can't even like put it into words. It's kind of hard.
They explore, you know, his past a lot more in this because, you know, they mentioned it once in the campaign that he was in the army and like he was a deserter.
Yeah,
very kind of offhandedly, but they really kind of explore it more heavily within this, and he talks about how he sees himself in Reed a lot. And I don't think I got the same speech as you, but by the end, there's one point.
It's much different.
After, it's when you see Reed for the first time before he leaves, or for the last time before he leaves Night City, and like you kind of have this little talk with him, and he drives off, and Johnny just goes, he's gonna kill himself. And he's like, what? He's like, he's gonna kill himself. Everyone betrayed him. All of his ideals are false. His president's a warmonger who's ready to start the third corporate war. Yeah. And all his friends betrayed him, and he goes on this lead. He's like, that man will end up hanging himself. And then like that was like,
he
Jesus
sees
Christ.
himself in
Reed.
Reed.
Exactly. He's like I would have done the same thing. I'd be exactly where Reed is at this point.
So when you when you do the ending and you wake up and it's been 2 years and like you see Reed, he just seems like a shell of a. He doesn't seem like he's in a bad spot, but he does seem like a shell of his former self.
He's just doing he's just doing the roles.
He's got a tie on, a badge, much different from the life of a field agent.
Well, and he was abandoned. We never mentioned this. I mean, he was left there for 7 years after this op. He was just abandoned basically.
Right, by the end of
Dogtown.
Yeah.
So I mean, it is interesting to watch him just be abandoned for that long, and then as soon as the president calls, though, he's there.
Right.
He's comes
the only
a calling.
life he knows.
Yeah.
A dog. A dog of war.
As soon as it whistles, yeah.
Yeah.
All you need to do is whistle. That's
And I do like how like Dogtown is kind of, you know, it's founded by those ex-Fourth Corporate War
I like
soldiers.
that whole lore.
They're kind of still like, hey, like
Hanson
we're
led
fighters, you know. The government abandoned us, but you know we're still around. Bargas comes up now. They're PMCs. It's kind of like a you know, not an MGS3 sort of thing, but like what happens in Phantom Pain, where it's like Big Boss founds his own army of soldiers. They fight for themselves, for whoever the highest bidder is.
So
it doesn't matter about the morality.
If I understand correctly, Hanson was the guy. He was a leader in the Fourth Corporate War Army, right? A general
for the NUSA.
That they sent to Night City to start like a settlement there, right? Or like the forward operating base.
They're based there
to start their introduction into Night City, and then they end up abandoning him, and he just stays there and sets up shop with his whole platoon. Right. Okay.
Right. And creates Bargas.
Right.
Bargas is essentially it's a gang, but like a PMC, a private military corporation.
Exactly. Mercenaries, stuff like that.
Yeah. Exactly.
So yeah, I did think that whole kind of backstory was cool. I did wish there was more closure to that story, which you seem to get.
Hanson does
within
seem very
Reed's.
secondary.
Yeah.
Like him is like, it's funny because like who's the villain of this? I don't. Reed and Somi, the NUSA. I don't know.
That's
everyone you're interacting with.
The government.
It's not Hanson.
No, it's true.
Hanson really is not the villain. He's the villain you fight physically.
Yeah.
But this is really more about what the NUSA is kind of doing to, I guess, their people.
Yeah, and the way they're trying to position themselves.
I felt with my V being a corporate background, I felt that my V would fall into line with the NUSA.
Sure.
Would not would follow the rules. I put my hand on the book. I took the pledge. Like I felt like my V was like ready to reassimilate into a corporate life. Like funny. That's what he, like a dog of war, he came back to it. Even though Arasaka threw him out, it's what he knows.
See, I read that situation different because I'm a Corpo V, and I feel like you get burned once, you don't go back.
Okay.
So I was like, no, I'm not committing to anyone else again. Look what happened last time that I did that. So I didn't swear my allegiance or anything like that. I was like, give me the coin. I'm not swearing on that book. And Johnny gives you the whole thing. He's like, good job.
So in the Reed ending, So basically, you do that. Alien. You go into this base with the what's there. Trying to remember
Which base? The airport or
no. So in the Reed ending, you don't do the airport at all. Remember how you're talking about there was like this horror sequence?
Yeah.
You do that in the Reed ending.
Okay.
So this robot being controlled by Somi and the Blackwall powers is chasing you through this facility like an alien. Like Alien, like the movie.
Like you can't hurt it either, I assume.
Right, you're hiding from it. And you're in this facility and you're there to get what? I'm trying to remember what it is. Somi is going there. Anyway, you're there to do the end of the game. And Somi is there, like you're going after something. And you eventually you get to the end. Somi's like jacked into the system. I think it's something to do with her Blackwall abilities, and she's trying to get more powerful or something like that.
Sure, more power.
Until
there's too much power.
Oh wait, remember that thing they were looking for in the vault thing you're cracking?
Right.
I think that's what they're going after, like something like that.
Okay.
Or something related to that.
Sure.
Anyway, it's been a few weeks for me.
No, I understand. And I did the Somi
So yeah,
stuff.
you find Somi in there, and it's like, okay, you can either call and read, hey, I got her, let's go, or you can kill her. When you kill her, and you're in a car with Reed, and you're driving out to like the edge of Night City, like in the desert, to rendezvous with the NUSA. This is where Myers comes back in.
So you get to talk to her again.
Yeah, you get to talk to her again. If she dies, she's like, fuck you, you failed. See ya.
That's it. Yeah.
Here's your money.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah.
You're not getting anything from us.
So you don't get an ending with that? You don't get like a new way? Yeah. That's funny.
But when you help her, President Myers, and shake her hand, it's all buddy-buddy, did a good job, the NUSA is in your debt, like, we'll call on you again. But then Reed is like, hey, yeah, we can do this. But then like the Somi of it is like, she's dead. I mean, they're gonna
just use her
and try to figure out like what was going on with her. But it's just like, Reed kind of says to you like, what happens to Somi? I don't know. I like lost contact with her.
Yeah,
she's alive. I know that. But
sure.
What the NUSA is doing to her, where?
Well, they're just used because they just want her back to be that WMD again, basically.
Right, that weapon. They want her abilities on their side, not the enemies. Yeah, and like seeing the NUSA, you're kind of buddy with Myers.
Do all the states still exist in this universe?
I don't think so.
Because what's her name?
You're in California.
Yeah, I know that. It's very interesting. I'd be curious what a world map of Cyberpunk looks like. So yeah, my ending, you go to the airport to get Somi out.
Yeah.
Which I thought was actually really cool. I didn't even realize they added an airport until we're driving out there. I don't know.
Was that not in the base game?
No, it's not on the map at all. It's just empty.
Did you check?
No. Well, yeah. Well, no.
I'm
sorry.
Like,
I didn't.
You know?
I didn't check, but I don't remember that being there. Well, absolutely.
That's where the rocket that goes to the moon and Edge Runners blasts off from.
Yeah,
it's the same place.
I don't believe it was the airport. Either way, we get to the airport. We got to sneak through security and get Somi to this station and or to the rocket to get her to the space station or whatever.
Right.
And it's pretty cool. You can go about it a few different ways, it seems like. And you can get caught while you're doing it, and you get thrown in jail, and then you have to sneak out that way.
Really?
Yeah, you are thrown in airport security, and then
that happened to me.
So I reloaded my save, so I didn't continue with that one. I ended up just sneaking in through the railway system. Because it was like in the bathroom, you could go in and there was like a hole in the ceiling. A lot of choices as to paths you can take in this, and I really appreciate that, even for like the side content. But yeah, you make your way through the airport, you're getting overwhelmed. Somi tops into the black wall, and you like jack in with her, and you just start frying. Yeah, and then you just start frying everyone, and yeah, you make it to the end. Somi is just like, I lied, bitch, deal with it. And then I'm like, all right, I won't turn you in. But then, like I said, Solomon shows up, and I'm like,
right. Or
yeah,
then
take her.
And then you can send it, or you either kill Reed and send her to the moon.
Yeah, which I wanted. How does that ending work out?
You just send her to the moon.
And that's that. There's no other ending.
If Reed has to be alive, and you have to make a deal with him or do what he wants for you to get the ending. the main story ending for.
So there's an ending with Saul where you can get the full ending, or you get fucked, or Myers says fuck off. And there's an ending with Somi where you send her to the moon and you don't get anything, or you give her to read,
and then
you do get the something.
Right, but you don't meet with like.
Yeah, you don't. I didn't meet with Myers or anything like that.
In the Somi ending, like you get on the Myers is there. Like you get on the roof and like she's like coming in with like all her NUSA guys.
I didn't see it. See, I only saw a shuttle pick him up.
I was sneaking through vents and we were like,
oh yeah, we saw that part. Yeah.
But you don't like talk to her.
No.
She's talking to.
That's the only time. That's the last time you see her.
Them, and like Solomon is there with them, reads with them, like a little dog.
Yeah, a little bitch.
The gigs were definitely better. I know we talked about in the beginning. I don't really have anything to say about them, but I just felt like they were more detailed.
100%.
Because I'm literally
like meeting contacts
in the
things.
review. We talked about it and like how it's like, hey, like here's the gig. I'll tell you a sentence or two about it. See details, and then you never really
interact with those gig people or anything.
Right. But then the gig itself is like short. It's like just go
in here and
like,
steal this thing.
Right, kill this dude or like get this dude out. Like some of them were a little more in depth, but not
for
most
sure.
Of them.
Well, I think a lot of them replaying them. I realized it's as you got to higher levels, that's where you started getting like much more in depth ones, like gigs wise, as far as like what would unlock, and even certain places or certain gigs only not gigs. Certain people only have like 5 gigs. Like the one guy in Center City, he only has 5 you can do for him.
I really didn't like. I know they added like the car theft stuff. Not good.
It was fine.
I was like, there's an achievement. You do 10 or you do his mission. Once you get 8, you
I
can
did
do
his mission.
You can
Yeah,
do the Arasaka truck.
I like the way you purchase cars now much better.
Yeah, they changed that instead of them being like, "Hey, want to buy this car? Want to buy this car? Want to buy this car? Want to buy this car?"
Who fucking thought that was a good idea?
Here's the car, internet page.
Yeah. Well, so apparently there were like kiosks you could go to too.
Yeah, there are.
They didn't show up on my map.
I interacted with a few.
I did, unless they like. I only did it through my computer at the house, or like.
I think that's what they mean. You can do it through any computer.
Yeah, but okay.
Any terminal.
Oh,
you go on
I
the
see.
internet. And
okay, because I thought that like there was online. There was like an actual like specific terminal, like fast travel terminals.
No.
Interesting. Okay, but yeah, I liked a lot of. There was a bunch of new cars that were really cool.
Yeah, I just was like with those missions, I was like, what the fuck is this?
I think it was
you get in the car and you deliver it and that's it.
Yeah.
Like it seems.
I think it was more in his full that mission that you do for him. I thought was actually pretty good. I did enjoy that. It was more in depth, and I think it was just more of an a way for you to experience the vehicle combat, which I thought was really good and worked really well. And they actually added it into a few different main campaign things, where like you're actually running away from people and you actually have to shoot at them.
Yeah, right.
I was like,
right.
that wasn't
shooting
there
in the
before.
car. Yeah, and then you get the car with the guns on it.
You get a really cool one by the end with him. It's like a James Bond one. The grate comes down and you shoot at it. It's really cool.
Yeah, yeah. I thought it felt like more like Kit from Knight Rider.
Felt like Mad Maxy to me with some of them. They looked very like that, like Badlands. Type style.
And to talk about the achievements of Phantom Liberty, pretty easy. It's like all the endings, the new ending that's in the base game for Phantom Liberty, a few like miscellaneous achievements, do a few main story things, get to 5 stars, do the side gigs. It's pretty easy. It's very obtainable, so it doesn't add like a super new level of difficulty or like, hey, you have to replay the whole game to get this new
done,
thing.
yeah.
It's pretty easy. I finished them within a month.
Right.
I finished it like a little bit before Christmas or the New Year, like right around then. I did want to talk about the credits song for Phantom Liberty because that is where the bond of what you're talking about comes in, where the full effect of like a James Bond intro is there with like like
the credits.
Yeah.
That was a Bond song, yeah, for sure.
And I found it interesting how they chose. I mean, even in the marketing, they chose to do the female V this time.
I feel like that was pretty heavy from that. Like, yeah, I agree. Actually,
the marketing in the original Cyberpunk was the male V, and for Phantom Liberty, the female V is on the cover. She's in the end credit song. Like, even though I'm a male V, it's the female V.
Oh, it is the female V?
Yeah, which was fine. It didn't really take me out of it. It was cool. Oh, dude, I love that sequence. The guy who did the credit song for Edge Runners did this as well.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. That's interesting.
It's like David with a W.
It's funny. I feel like the female V did pick up a lot for some reason after the like game came out. That's where I just seem to feel
If
I see a lot of.
once I do a like, if I do that PS5 playthrough, I'm definitely gonna play female.
Nice.
But I would either go Street Kid or Corpo again. I don't like Aldecado.
I don't either. The Badlands one, yeah, it
doesn't
feels
like,
weird.
especially with like my play style. But like, yeah, I don't really like Street Kid either.
Street Kid was fine. That's what I played my first one. I liked Corpo a lot. Yeah, I did too. I felt like I was getting a lot of options for it, like dialogue options and things like that.
Yeah, I think it really ties into the themes of Phantom Liberty and the themes of Dogtown. I just felt like, yeah, like V had a lot of like background, especially when like people brought in like Militech and like he was talking about, yeah, he used to work for Arasaka. Yeah. I remember a few of those in the base game, but like I feel like in Phantom Liberty there was much more of that.
Yeah. No, I agree. I don't know. I think that there is a lot going on when I lost my train of thought again. What were you saying?
The Corpo dialogue choices.
So sorry.
Yeah,
they were. I got a stupid text. I'm putting this away. I do think it was just coming up a lot. Even going through the main campaign, I felt like it was really kind of popping in more than I realized, even more than I remember like Street Kid. But of course, I played that a while ago, so maybe that does pop up more often. I'm sure there's like some Aldecado like options when you're out helping Pan Am and things like that.
Yeah, it just seems so disconnected from the themes of Night City.
I completely agree.
And I kind of get that's like fine to have a faction like that,
right?
But I feel like to like integrate you into the wider world, it just doesn't make much sense.
It doesn't line up. It's nice to be able to go explore that, but to come from that, it feels like it doesn't line up like you're saying. Yeah.
So, anything else before we get to the big ending for Phantom Liberty?
No, not really. It's a fantastic game. It's what Cyberpunk should be. If there were a time to play this game, it's 3 years after it originally came out.
It's now, yeah.
Or 2 years.
You're getting the best version possible.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
It's going to run the
Top
best.
tier.
Yeah, it's going to play the best.
Absolutely.
It's now is the time to play Cyberpunk 2020.
For sure. And we had a bit of a drought here. There's nothing really in January, right?
Tekken and another fighting game's coming out, I think.
So nothing for me.
Yeah, I know. The end of January, and then February is kind of busy, but...
Right.
Do you think it's going to be I mean, this is totally off topic. I guess we don't even have to talk about this, but I think it's going to be a kind of an odd year.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, we just had such a banger. There's going to be a few like good ones out there, but I don't know. And then we got GTA 5 next year. GTA 6.
Yeah, but I don't... Yeah. I
know you don't care about that, but I'm still thinking.
I don't say that. I just like think about the year as a whole. It's
for
like,
sure.
I think we'll have some like maybe this year will be kind of low, and then if we have like 2 or 3 like middle kind of years where like there's some good releases, but it's not packed.
Are we getting that Venom game this year? Or is that 2025? I thought that said 2024.
A Venom game?
Yeah, from the Insomniac hack. You didn't see that? You mean? Well, no, we're getting like a Miles Morales Venom style game. Like it's going to be Venom. You didn't see that from the hack?
Did I miss that?
You must have. That was like, yeah, we're getting a Venom game.
I totally missed that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's going to be like Miles Morales length, apparently. That was in the whole hack. The whole leak, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It makes more sense now why we got to play as Venom. I get it. Yeah, full game.
Yeah.
Like 10 hours, I think it said. From the leak, did you listen to Sacred Symbols yet?
No. I knew they did a
put out the
full.
That's what I was. So I watched. They did a little thing on like the broader stuff in Sacred Symbols like this week,
and then they did.
They did a plus, which I was listening to, where they were talking about a lot of it in depth. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Just you don't get financials and stuff like this from anything. I mean, it sucks how it happened. I feel like none of the personal info, but yeah, it's
the ending.
Yes,
the base ending for Cyberpunk, where you finish the game with the Phantom Liberty ending. So yeah, we're taking the out. We're going to get the chip removed, and we are going to live. That's the idea. And like that monologue with, Johnny. Johnny's like, so you're doing this.
You're just gonna do that. Yeah,
you're just getting rid of me.
And mine, I was very much just like, Johnny, dude, it's my body. Like, I wasn't like, fuck you or anything. I'm
right.
like, dude, it's my body.
It felt sad. Like, it felt like, kind of talking about Johnny and him being like, him and V sort of being on like good terms. Like, this ending is such a different turn.
It is.
Where like, now V is sort of throwing Johnny.
Because with the alt one, like, he still will live on the net. Right. Is the idea. He wouldn't go away.
Right.
So.
And you die either way.
Yeah, but
one thing I talked about in the review is that there's no good ending for V, and that kind of sucks.
Yeah, you just either way you die. Yeah,
there
you die
is
in
an
2
ending.
years, or you die you just let Johnny take over your body,
And now there's an ending where you do live
but at a cost.
at a very big cost.
Very steep cost.
So they bring Vita Langley, which is the CIA in Washington. They do the procedure. You kind of
You're expecting to be out for like a month or something,
right. You're calling your
says.
people. Hey, I'll be gone for a while. You send all the texts, Victor Vector, Pan Am, your romance, all your friends. See ya. Don't know when I'll be back.
Who did you romance?
Pan Am.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, and you're out for 2 years, and life
up in
has
2079.
moved on.
Yeah.
And it worked. The procedure worked, but at like you're saying, at a cost. You can no longer handle cyberware. So you are a normal.
I thought it was combat cyberware or something. I thought.
I think like anything, but like
because by the end she's like, I think you might be right. Anything that's like beyond that, because she's like, I can't even use like muscle stimulants or something like that. It was like she's like
right. Like you're right, but I think it is really like what other cyber are you using that is not?
I guess like
related?
Your optics, like better eyes and stuff. I'm sure there's like quality of life cyberware that you could get, like if you were living in.
See, it didn't even seem like, I know you have the eyes, but like anything more than like the normal.
That's exactly
Kuroshi
optics or whatever.
You couldn't handle,
and it's because like your nervous system has become numb to like cyberware impulses or something like that. Victor says,
yeah, like your body just can't.
Can't handle it. Yeah,
and you're normal. Like for all intents and purposes, you're a normal human being, and that in this world is probably less than dirt, I guess, right?
Well, I mean, you're definitely at a disadvantage in God knows how many ways. Yeah. You don't. Yeah,
you're like more than an outcast now.
Well, and it's funny because I don't even think it's necessarily like people like especially in that thing would look down. It's just like you can't participating in regular society probably involves so much cyberware. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you're like an outcast, like socially, like societally. Maybe not an outcast, but like you are out. Yeah. Your situation.
You're outside the norm.
You are here, and everyone else is over here.
Sure.
That are even if they're not using combat implants, they're using cyberware to, like you just said, day to day. So and in the hospital room, you call everyone. Carrie picks up, doesn't really have time for you. He's big and famous now for me.
I didn't call Carrie because I don't think I finished his whole quest line.
So that was Judy got married,
and
has gone off her own life.
Yeah, that bitch. Pittsburgh. Fucking bitch. She was my romance.
Yeah, I bet that was weird. Pan Am doesn't even answer you.
She doesn't answer.
Gone.
Which felt weird to me.
Maybe they couldn't get the actress back. But I do think it makes sense with the Aldecados that like she would eventually leave Night City.
I get that, but the way she's like, she doesn't respond to her. Like she's like, you just left her. It's like, no, I told her where I was going. Like I had surgery and I was in a coma for 2 years.
No, you don't tell anybody that. You just say you're going to be gone.
I thought you tell Pan Am and like them specifically you're going away for the surgery.
No.
Well, Judy, you tell her that. For sure.
Well, maybe your romance, you have an option. I don't think I told Pan Am what I was doing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Judy, I'm pretty confident I told her. But even still, like, if you called and told her, like, I don't know. It felt very
River Ward is like a piece of shit now.
Yeah.
That was really interesting.
Yeah. It's like, I'm not the same guy, V.
Yeah. Like, I'm like, whoa.
All right, dude.
Victor Vector seems to be doing good, but he's
working for a corp now.
I hesitate to call him a sellout because I don't really think that's a situation, but he's now a corporate
life seemed to push him in that way.
Right.
He did so.
And I kind of like his situation, but it just seems like he was the most realistic about like what the situation he was in.
Well, I mean, his life just doesn't seem to change
the girl's
that much.
name?
Misty.
Misty is sold the esoteric. It's
esoteria.
And it's like but he's still in like the back, and he's just like they gave me a job, and it was like it was
this or stop practice. He's like they forced his hand. It seems that way. Yeah,
but I kind of make like I don't.
No, he seems the most constant. Out of all of them,
my V was kind of like but like you're not happy. You like they didn't get into a fight like that. You could kind of tell like
same
like,
by the end
they were like we should talk again.
Yeah,
like because then that one like client comes in and it's like
Yeah, he does call at least me again. He's like, I want to meet you again after that. Yeah, that wasn't the way I wanted that to go.
And I'm trying to think of who else you call. River, Judy, Pan Am, Victor Vector.
That's
Carrie.
really that's it. That's really all I care.
Okay,
yeah.
I think that's it.
And then you go to see Victor back in Night City. Delamain picks you up.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of, it's like very somber, but it's somber at the cost of like, you lose these 2 years of your life. You can no longer have cyberware, but you do live.
Perales is mayor now for me. I did
right.
the side quest.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like, life has definitely gone on, and it's like,
What's his name just falls out of the company. The guy who kills Subaru, his son.
Noburo.
Yeah, you hear like
Subaru, Osaka, and
Narubu.
Yeah,
I believe so.
something like that. Begins with that.
Yeah, you find out the company just forced him out after a while because he sucks. And I think
Hanako?
is just still around too. Again, there doesn't seem to be much in the fact. Like, I was surprised there wasn't any wrap up with Takemura.
He dies.
When does he die?
If unless he lives.
Doesn't he die in the? He didn't die yet.
When you get attacked in the he can die or he can live.
Okay, I think he lived for me.
Okay,
because
you would know he's in the ending.
So I didn't get to do. I just did he's in the ending and with Phantom Liberty.
No, in the
game ending.
Yeah, so. If you remember you have Hanako in the outside in Night City, once you get attacked there, if you don't like do a quick time event, Takamura dies.
Right.
Like,
I'm fairly confident he's alive still for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. But I was just surprised you didn't give him like a call to wrap that up in the end. But I guess it doesn't matter.
Yeah, true.
You know what I mean? Like that's
actually, yeah. For my ending, he's dead. He's gone. So I wouldn't have him anyway.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure mine was still like
because that was like my first character. Like I'm like I didn't save him and I had to like get an achievement. I'm like you gotta tell me I'm gonna replay this whole game. But yeah, you have that whole conversation with Victor Vector, like, hey, like this can't be true, right? Like,
and he's like, no, it is true.
And he's like, no, dude, your body, like,
it's rejecting it. Yeah, you can't handle it. Yeah.
You will die if you use any. And then,
well, I thought it's not even like that. It's like she just physically can't even use them. Like it's like they like the way he like she's her body can't read the impulses.
Even, right, put them on.
So like if you attach them, you can't use them. Yeah.
Okay.
At least that's how I read it. Really doesn't matter.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's semantics.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you leave, they have that, we'll talk again later. I got a client, like she's coming in, kind of forcing my hand, and you get mugged. I was able to, like, they encounter you before you go in and when you come out. And I was able to like use my cool thing to like be like, fuck off and like walk right past them. But I guess they get you when you come out.
Yeah.
You give you a nice punch in the face. And that's when Misty shows up. And I think she is like the representation of how it's almost like a Red Dead 2 thing where V's life and the world is sort of leaving him in the past.
Sure, but she set that world up, or he did. Yeah, like in a
Misty
way,
has like moved on. Like her hair is different.
Yeah.
She has like the V-like jacket. She kind of looks like you a little bit.
Looks more murky.
Yeah, but not.
Yeah.
She's like, where are you going? Like, oh, I'm just going on like a trip like out in nature and like I want to leave Night City and she's talking about, yeah, I want to leave and like I'm gonna leave for a little while and I may come back and then like she's like, nah, I'm not coming back.
Yeah.
I'm not coming back here. And like she's gonna go off and like do her Misty thing, and then you walk her out to the car. And then, she drives away, and then it's just V in his, like, normal clothes.
Shaved head,
yeah. And,
cuts to the third person, yeah.
And, like, looks around and just walks away, becomes
into the crowd.
One in the crowd.
Yeah.
I thought that ending was so moving.
You do get a call from, like, Rogue at the end, too. She's like, hey, I heard you're back around.
You get the credits calls just like you do in the base game.
And she was like, don't come back here. Basically, she's like, I wouldn't come around too much. Might ruin your reputation,
right?
Or something.
People think you're dead, right?
No, they don't think. I think they know she's alive, but they're like, you're known as like a badass, and they're like, people are trying.
You're not anymore,
but you're
right?
not. So she's like, don't come in and ruin your rep. But
yeah. Because and you don't really get a choice, but like do you stay in Night City? Do you try to become a fixer? Do you leave? I almost was like, I don't even know.
I think the fixer thing makes the most sense in my opinion for the route.
Yeah,
for her
but I almost feel like leaving Night City is better than kind of like coming to terms with like, just like Rogue says, it's like you're not who you used to be, and you'll never be that person again. It's almost not worth sort of squandering the legend.
You made yourself a Light City legend,
which is like what Johnny does.
And that's that's the point, and that's what Jackie is going for too. Yeah,
and that's like the point. Like especially with the
Do you die in the dirt, Gooch, or is what they're like? Do you want to die in a blaze of glory or live long and no one like it's whatever Deshaun gives you at the beginning? It's actually pretty good.
Yeah,
he's like, "What do you want to do, Ms. V?" It's so good.
What's the what's that tower called?
Arasaka Tower?
No, the tower you go into.
I can't remember.
It begins with a K, right?
Kabuki Plaza? No.
I forget what it's called because like they talk it like that op. That op is like kind of famous, and it's how V sort of like gets their big start, depending on if you're what's it called? Kabuki
Plaza. That's what I thought.
No,
Konpeki.
Konpeki.
Yeah,
that's
Konpeki Plaza.
Konpeki Plaza. Yeah, like that op is kind of like the beginning of V's legend, and I guess you ride it out like in a blaze of glory, or you die in the dirt. And like this ending is you're dying in the dirt, but at least you have like one breath left.
See, but then
it is. I think it's very poetic.
Well, and in the original game, the idea is like if you do like take Johnny out of your body and like you only have like a couple months to live. The idea is you go up to like the space station, right? Because you're like, there's a chance.
A big heist.
Yeah, because there's
the idea.
Well,
or like one big
to finish
score.
it off. That's what it is.
Right.
Okay, I couldn't.
Not like that. You're gonna live, but it's like one more job.
Interesting.
One more job, Mr. V. What do you say?
What do we do? What do we say? Come on.
But yeah, Phantom Liberty, like that ending, and that's how I ended on. That was my last achievement, and I was like, that was cool.
It felt satisfying. Yeah,
I was I don't think Cyberpunk's main story really. I liked it, but I don't know if it like had this much of an impact.
Well, it doesn't have. It just sucks because I think
I guess it's
a
different
nice
kind of context.
And I just think it's nice to be able to have your character kind of walk off into the sunset a little bit, even if it's in Squander.
Right. There's one ending that you can have that.
Exactly. Or you can let Johnny have your body and he lives on forever. And you live on the net though after that too, because they take your engram. I thought they take V's engram at the end. So I think you can live on.
But it's really
you just
not the same.
Sure, I mean Johnny's not the same person either. I mean that's the whole point of an engram. It's like, and even we're getting into Westworld territory where they're talking about is it even really the same person? But she would still technically live on in that way. But yeah, she would die because even the idea I think with the original ending was like he'd take both personalities out, which would kill her, and then put hers back in, put her engram back in. But then the damage is already so heavily done that like she would only live for so long. Lots going on, Gooch, and I like it. I like that we do have two options.
And this is why I think like replaying the game, now that the story and the world and the gameplay, the whole package is just much more seamless and synergized. I feel like another replay, maybe a few years down the line, would be cool.
My closing question to you: where, location-wise, for the next one, do you just stay in Night City?
No,
you have to go to a different city.
I think so. Unless if the pen and paper game kind of like deems it so.
That's what I was gonna say.
One thing I forgot to talk about in the Reed ending, you see a lot of So-Mi flashbacks as to who she is in Brooklyn as a net runner and sort of how she gets picked up by Reed. Essentially, like you get like bits and pieces of like she had friends and a boyfriend and the life she left behind to become an NUSA agent. But yeah, that got me thinking. I'm like, what are other cities like? What is Brooklyn like?
Yeah, what's Pittsburgh like?
What is New York? Yeah, what's Pittsburgh? What's Philly like? Like, there's got to be like I think Night City has been Cyberpunk's playground. I would be interested to see Cyberpunk without Night City, but maybe you can't take the Night City out of Cyberpunk.
That's what I'm wondering. How crucial is that to it?
It might be.
And you do Cyberpunk 20.
So
if 2100 and it's
2170, if it did 2177,
and it's like it's so far in the future that it's a different city unto itself. That's maybe what you can do.
Right, like Arasaka doesn't even exist anymore. They're just
and
like,
that's
they're just
so
like
you find out in the new
history.
Exactly, and you do find out in the new ending Arasaka's like pulling out of Night City.
Yes,
they seem to be
and
falling.
A new company is coming in.
Yeah,
which I found very. Thank God you brought that up. I forget what they were called, but they're talked about somewhere.
Yeah.
As like an up and coming thing, but yeah, that Night City Arasaka is pulling out and leaving America.
It really seems like what's his name
past.
dying, like, and I think it's because like they're failing. It seems to be like it. like
without
the
your
Yorinobu
family,
and all that. Yeah,
quote unquote.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Gooch, fantastic game. I had a great time. I really did.
I really liked it. But again, most of it is a part of the expansion. It's
But I do think the base game is very worth your time now, especially with all these quality of life
I was kind of more
enhancements.
talking to it's game of the year nomination, or not game of the year, game award nominations. It's good, but
It's not a full new game.
no.
The expansion unto itself is not. No. Like it's
but it definitely makes the package more complete. But again, that's the Cyberpunk 2077 package, not just Phantom Liberty.
Exactly.
Phantom Liberty is good. Again, equivalent to Hearts of Stone from The Witcher. But it's not a Blood and Wine.
No, I think
it's
for
not
what
like
it's trying to
it's
be,
not
it's
like
great.
a standalone thing. You cannot play Phantom Liberty as a standalone experience.
No, for sure.
So,
Definitely not.
I kind of get
Which
the
I mean,
criticism.
but again, I don't think you necessarily. I don't think that makes it better or worse. I think that's just if for the size of what they're trying to accomplish, I think it's a fantastic expansion.
Yeah.
But I think that does for me. Gooch, anything else for you?
That does it for me, friend.
Fantastic. Well, thank you all so much for hanging out with us. If you've been with us live on twitch.tv/Delco Nerd Network, we really appreciate your time. You can find this podcast anywhere podcasts are found. Just search Delco Nerd Network on all your favorite services. You can find us on all your favorite social medias as well at Delco Nerds on basically everything. We got a Facebook page, we got a Discord channel, all that good stuff will be linked down below. You can find all the information that I just spewed out on our website, delconerdnetwork.com as well. And you can email us your comments, questions, or concerns, delconerds@gmail.com. We'd be happy to get back to you. If you could drop a like, comment, share, subscribe, that also goes a long way. Tell friends about us. We really appreciate your time spending almost every week here. We keep things rolling out pretty regularly, which is nice. But
Yeah, we do.
for Gooch, I've been Trio. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay nerdy, and we will see you next time.